What's good, family? It's your boy Old Soul J, and I'm back with another video. Today, I want to talk about the importance of spiritual practices. Majority of people who claim to be awakened, self-aware, spiritual, they don't really do any practices. They watch videos, they might read a little bit, they talk about things, but they're not doing like actual energy work. Like, there's levels. If you're not doing actual energy work, then you're not really experiencing what the real ones are talking about. Like, it's one thing to be conscious, it's one thing to be quote unquote woke. That's, to me, like in 2025, that's not that rare. You know what I'm saying? Like, the consciousness on the planet is rising anyway. So, I mean, it's still not as common, right, to be quote unquote woke, but it's even less common to be actually spiritual, to be actually raising your vibration on a frequency. Some people be aware of the matrix of what's going on with the government, conspiracy theories, and all these type of things, or just be somewhat conscious of this experience, this realm, but their vibration is still low. Their actions are still the actions of a small-minded being. You're not really getting the real experience. You're still, like, this is what they say, like, knowledge is useless if you don't put any action towards it, if you don't use the knowledge. So my thing is, the reason why spiritual practices are important, because just knowing a bunch of information does nothing for you. Talking about certain things does nothing for you. In order for you to truly raise your vibration and reach certain levels consciously, you have to do actual work. You have to do the work. Meditation is probably the most common, most popular type of spiritual practice that you can do. But there's levels to that as well. Some people think they're meditating and they're not really meditating. I had someone tell me before, oh, everyone meditates. Meditating is just when you're thinking. No, I'm sorry. That's not what meditation is. Like, what do you mean? That's not meditation. I'm not about to get into what meditation is right now. That's not what this video is necessarily about. You're stuck on a certain level or a certain stage when you're not expanding your mind, when you're not raising your frequency, doing actual energy work. And I've made videos on this in the past. I've given you guys practices. I've spoken about the importance of it. But now I just want to dive deep, or just emphasize the importance of it. Because you can resonate with something, you can feel something, you can be quote unquote woke to what's going on in the material world, but you cannot really understand or truly feel the life-changing experiences, the energetic feelings, experiences that are greater than any experience or feeling you could possibly get in this world. I'm talking about pure energy, pure feeling, like experiencing things or tapping into things that 99% of people would not believe you if you told them. But the crazy thing about it is that everyone has access. Everyone is capable. It's just that they strip us of our power, which is our knowledge of this. So because you don't have the knowledge of what you're capable of, you don't have the power. If if Superman didn't know that he had super strength, would he ever use it? You have to be able to apply the knowledge and able to activate your DNA and activate certain energies in your body to have a certain experience. The way you do that is with ancient practices. But when you're taught to be closed-minded, when you're taught to be distracted by other things, you'll never do those practices. You'll never activate those energies. You'll never feel what it really feels like to truly be high vibrational, to manipulate your energy, to feel good, to have, it depends on what we're talking. You know what I mean? But it's just a completely different experience when you're resonating on a certain vibration. Your world, your view, just how you experience life is completely different depending on what frequency you're resonating in. The thing is about it, not enough people are doing the work that is required to raise their vibration and their frequency. It's the ultimate form of bliss and enlightenment. And now those things can only be reached and obtained by spiritual practices, breath work, yoga, meditation. Those are like the big three to me. Those are the big three. Those are the simplest things to get into, the easiest things to get into. You don't need nothing but yourself and the willingness to actually be patient and try it. Why do you think it's even possible for a monk, a yogi, to go out to the mountains? I've said this multiple times, but like, really think about that. They're making a conscious choice. Nobody's forcing them to do this. Why do you think they're doing this? Because they've gotten a taste of what enlightenment feels like, high vibrations feel like, and they decided to devote their life to that because there's no greater feelings. If I'm being honest with you, if I'm being real, I don't know what kind of person. I mean, I already know I was destined and born to be spiritual. I remember, like, even when I was 18, I just had a curiosity for meditation. Like, I remember thinking, why do people meditate? I didn't know anybody who did it. I just decided, like, I'm gonna try this. And I kept trying it, and then, like, changed my whole mind, my whole way of being, the way I felt about things. It was just a small step, but it led further into me diving deeper. And it's not just a thing about the rabbit hole, conspiracies. No, bro, it's so much bigger than that. People love to talk about conspiracies. You're not really tapped in for real just because you are intelligent enough to recognize the bullshit that goes on in the world. Just because you have the capability of thinking a little bit deeper. Intelligence and high vibrations are two separate things. Vibrating on a certain frequency, doing energy work, changing the DNA in your body, the energy, the chakras, working with your chakras. Chakras are real. It's a whole completely different thing than just believing in conspiracy theories. I mean, look, don't get it twisted. Don't get me wrong. These quote-unquote conspiracy theories, 9 times out of 10, they be true. They be real. Don't get me wrong. I feel you. I know. I've been down that rabbit hole. Learn the information, but don't get stuck there. That's just one level. That's just one stage. The real secret, the real thing they don't want you to know is the power that you have within and what you're capable of doing with that power, what you're capable of tapping into with that power, what you're capable of changing your whole entire perspective and experience and perception of life. Your vibrational state. There's no greater glory. There's no higher mountain. None. There's nothing the material world can give you that can compare to the feeling of cosmic love and spiritual enlightenment. And the challenge is tapping into that when everything around you, almost everything around you, most of the things around you that's going on in this world is pulling you further and further away from it. That's why, I mean, that's one of the many reasons why I say life is a game. It's a challenge. It's a game. It doesn't. People get it misconstrued, thinking that I just mean that it's not serious or it's just whatever. Like, it's not real. It's not something to take serious. I don't think that. I don't think that is something in terms of like the magnitude of the importance of it. Of course, I don't think it's as small as a video game. Of course, I think that it's a big deal. But once you start looking at it like that, and you figure out what mode in the game best suits you and your player, and then you do whatever it is that you gotta do, or you find the ways, you learn the ways of the game to put yourself in the best position possible to actually get to a certain level. Spiritual practices are important because if you don't actually do actual work to become closer to enlightenment, you would think that you know something when you really don't. And don't get me wrong either. I'm not saying I know everything. I'm not saying I have all the answers, because I've said multiple times in the past, a wise man knows he knows nothing. There's just things when it comes to your soul and spiritual, like, enlightenment can't be described, It can't be articulated. What we're capable of, the way we communicate on this realm of existence, on this plane of existence, you couldn't even fathom that. Like, it just doesn't translate. It doesn't translate. It can't be explained on this level of existence, because it's when you tap into that state, you're operating above this realm, which is why they would call it Christ consciousness or Krishna consciousness, God mode. You're tapping in to a state of being that is above the material. So in a material world, it is impossible for you to articulate that experience in the physical to another physical being, especially when they're not resonating on that frequency. There's no way. You have to experience it for yourself, or you would have no idea. No idea. It's challenging. Some things, my soul, my mind is far greater than the lengths, the limits of how we can express things in this existence. It's far greater. But at the very least, I can tell you the simple practices that can get you closer to understand or to experience what I am talking about. The ones who know, they know. For whatever reason, my higher self pushes me to inspire or to influence others. I'm sharing the wealth, you know. But trust and believe, it's something that they don't want you to know. And you're missing out if you don't ever get the opportunity to experience these things.